James, thanks very much for joining us in the Academy.
Thanks for having me.
Now listen, Ireland is sort of a home away from home at this stage, because you've been here like several times, and we've had a chat previously, and you've noted one of your support gigs for Delaney as a standout moment to date. Is that still the same?
It is still the same, and you know, I can't remember exactly when we last talked about it, but there's a possibility that since then I came back to Dublin and supported them in, because I've supported them a couple of times actually here, and the most recent one was in the O2, the big one.
Yes.
Like 14,000 people, terrifying, amazing. But we did 3 nights in the Olympia, and it was Delaney who kind of brought me over to Ireland, like, and I was opening for them, and you know, they kind of as amazing as the O2 is, you know, basically because of the size and the amount of people, and I got a great reception at that gig, but there's something pretty magical about the Olympia. So that, you know, that's still the big one for me, and that was like maybe my first time. It was only a year ago, but I've been back and forth to Ireland a lot, like you say, since then, and it really is feeling more and more like familiar. But I think that was my first time here, and it, you know, it's still one of the best. Like,
as I said, we did previously chat, and earlier in the year I asked you if you had anyone to collaborate with, an Irish artist, who would it be? And you did mention Van Morrison and Damien Rice, but you settled with Hozier.
I did, yeah.
And you're just after finishing up the tour with him, so that must have been pretty.
It was brilliant, and he's a brilliant bloke as well, I have to say. We had a really good time. Unfortunately, there was actually a moment, a couple of weeks in a like a 6 or 7 week tour, so we definitely had enough time. But there was a sort of week and a half where he wasn't very well, and he had to sort of cancel a little bit of the tour. But yes, it happened, and it was amazing. I met him once or twice, and then, you know, he invited me on to be the opener, which was incredible, around America. That's a big adventure, so to be able to do it as part of that bill was amazing. And then, you know, when he did get ill, he had a couple of shows he couldn't play, and they were cool with me, like, you know, headlining them. So
I love air quotes.
Well, you know, it wasn't exactly the deal that everyone had come to see, but, you know, there was like a 1,000 capacity room that, you know, it was a bit last minute. You know, people got to make the decision whether they wanted to come or not, and 500 people, you know, that had arrived, and everybody else, I guess, hadn't yet, stayed and watched me kind of headline, as I say, and it was great. You know, it was really cool, and it was, you know, but it was a pleasure to be there with him and see him play. You know, I'm a fan, so it was cool.
Now you're releasing just later in the week, Hold Back the River EP.
Yes.
Now this is a third in quite a short space of time.
Yeah.
Are the songs on this EP, have you had them in the bank, so to speak, for quite a while? Or?
A little bit, yeah. It's a little bit of that, and it's also that, you know, so there's a reason behind the third EP in quite a short space of time, and that is, well, for one, the album is now around the corner. Okay. We'll get into that, but well, we can only get so into it. But what I will say about the EPs is that I wanted to go on a little journey, because I sort of introduced myself to, you know, anybody that was interested in listening, as this sort of solo troubadour acoustic guitar, you know, that one man and guitar thing, which is what, you know, where I was at the time. But I had this past of playing in bands, and I had this past of, you know, playing electric guitar for 9 hours a day in my bedroom as a kid, and you know, playing along to the Stones and Kings of Leon and all these great bands. And so I had that side to me that I never wanted to lose, because I don't know what it is. Maybe I don't have this sort of attention span. I can't quite just settle for one thing.
Yeah.
I love to play solo and acoustic, but you know, you kind of get bored for a second when you know that you had as good a time doing something slightly different, like a different version of the same thing.
Did you write the songs with a band in mind?
Yes.
Is that what you?
Yeah, I mean, I've actually written a lot of my songs, even some of the stuff on the first EP, The Dark in the Morning, with the band in mind. But the thing I love about all of it is that I wanted to write songs that you could play just on one instrument. Okay. Because if you can get it, I believe that if you can get it across like that, then, you know, I guess you've got a decent song.
What's the last album that you've purchased yourself?
That I purchased myself. What was it? I guess it was. There's this guy Benjamin Booker, who is new. He's in the sort of singer-songwriter world, I guess, but he's like one of the coolest versions of it, because it's so raw, and it's like sort of Jack White. You know, it's just very sort of raucous, and he's got this incredible voice, very live, sounding album. There's a couple of tunes on there called Violent Shiver and Have You Seen My Son, which I didn't notice it at first. What's that music where it grabs you and you're not like sure why, but you play it again and then you find out more and more each time you play it. So I can't remember the name of the album, but it was his album that it's pretty new still, and yeah, I'm a big fan of that. It's very cool.
If you had to choose one song of the year apart from one of your own to say, like, probably like the track of the year, because obviously we're coming to the end of 2014.
Track of the year, I mean, it's hard not to choose Take Me to Church, is it? You know, that was a big tune. Hozier's Take Me to Church. I mean, it's, you know, I can't remember if I heard that for the first time. It might have been at the end of last year that he was sort of trickling it out into the ether. And I actually, one of the first times I met him, I did actually, you know, I got to say, I was saying great song. It was kind of a given, and I had to say that music video is amazing.
Do you have a standout lyric that you've penned to date that you think is your best work?
I have a song called Scars, where the lyrics just, you know, I guess I'm quite proud of them. They mean a lot to me, and I think they really kind of hit the nail on the head with what the song was about. So that's a good moment for me. Like I don't know, it feels like I kind of nailed it. So I suppose that's one. Yeah.
Perfect. Well, listen, thanks for taking time out to chat to us.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Cheers.